What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, you know, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Okay, so the presenting sponsor of A is for Alcoholic, as always, is the Green Camel Press. Woo. Green Camel Press is a design firm with an old school aesthetic in a digital age. And what we do is a lot of hand-drawn artwork, hand-drawn designs. Our main medium, I would say, is Sharpie and paper.
And
that's drawings, and lots of drawings.
And the hands.
And the hands, yes, the time-lapse drawings.
They're an important part of it.
So we do a lot of these time-lapse drawings we call digital doodles and chop them up and put them in and make fun little movies with them. And I made one, and I was messing around with these with some different effects in the video editing. Yeah. And somebody commented and said, "Your hands, like the," and not that there's anything wrong with my partner's hands, but like they just really bright orange, and so they looked kind of weird. And somebody had commented like, "Your hands don't look too good, man. Like you should be careful with that." And I was like, "Oh, that's my fault. I won't make the hands look too orange." But
they just use the carrot filter. I'm a big fan of carrots filter.
Something like that.
I've been stirring Kool-Aid with my hands filter.
Yes. Stirring Kool-Aid like all the way down to the elbow in the big picture.
Remember that movie House Party?
Yes, I do.
The little kid stirring it with his hand. He goes, "What do you want, grape or red?" And he's like, "Red." He's just stirring it with his fucking arm. Oh, jeez, dude.
So we do a lot of that stuff. We make T-shirts, which you own one. You're a proud owner of a T-shirt.
One of my favorite shirts. I got pasta sauce on it though, so I've been trying to work that stain out because I love it. But I apparently love pasta way too much while I'm wearing that shirt. I gotta take my shirts off when I eat.
I was gonna say just shirtless at the dinner table is probably the best bet, right?
I just sit on the floor in the living room. Just.
So go check us out at greencamelpress.com. Go get yourself a digital doodle. Go get yourself a T-shirt. Come check us out on Instagram and Facebook. There's all kinds of cool stuff. We are also brought to you by our sibling podcast, which is me and our friend Walter, called Gluten is Not Your Problem. It is a podcast about the service industry, food culture, time travel. We discussed flat earthers the other day.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
No, I don't think I've put it up yet. I think that's coming out next week or something. And what else did we discuss? I think we discussed Bigfoot and some other weird things. We talked about one episode coming up about whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not.
Man, we never talk about shit on this like that on this podcast, dude.
Well, what do you think? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Nah, it's a hot dog.
Oh, see? I
guess Walter really gets into the meat of it. No pun intended.
So if you listen to the one that's coming out this next Sunday, I was joking with him, and that was the whole theme was, is a hot dog a sandwich? And then I said, so is cereal soup? And he's like, no, it's not, man. But I'll tell you how you can make cereal into a soup. And he deconstructed the whole thing, and he's like, then and only then can you call it soup. And he went all out about the preparation. So check out Gluten is Not Your Problem, soups and sandwiches next Sunday.
Does he think a hot dog is a sandwich? He does. Yes.
He said yes.
You know what? Because I think I got drunk and almost got into a fight with him about it. Like, I'm pretty sure this is bringing back some old blackout
So we'll,
memories where
uh-huh.
I stuck my finger in his face and yelled at him anyway.
Well, but this was something
Yeah.
that was, so we just discussed, like, Subway doesn't cut the bread all the way through when they make you a sandwich, but you call that a Subway sandwich. And we had
Right.
some other discussions around that. Go check out Gluten is Not Your Problem. New episodes
Right.
out every Sunday.
Yeah.
And you are listening to the A is for Alcoholic podcast,
Right.
where we try to discuss our particular brand of recovery.
But is a quesadilla like a Mexican sandwich?
We discussed this too. Well, a quesadilla, I mean, technically, if it's flour, I mean, how do you make a tortilla? If it's flour and water, I mean, so you could call it a Mexican sandwich, yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Although a Mexican sandwich is a torta.
Is a torta, yeah. So they already have something they call a sandwich. So is a quesadilla sort of outside of the realm of sandwiches and its
Man,
own?
this is pretty fucking deep, man. I need to get in on this podcast, and then maybe I'll try to start another fight with him.
Well,
Bring some fire to it, dude. Some mid-season drama.
we would love to have you on. I
Yeah,
think we'll
right.
do a Skype little three-way, like a triple decker sandwich. We'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. But back to the alcoholism.
Back to the exciting world of alcoholism. We wanted to take today and talk about perspective and gaining perspective, having perspective, changing your perspective. And we had a little conversation before we hit the record button, and you had asked a question, and you said,
refresh my memory because I was all caught up on the fucking quesadilla train.
you asked, is it not the nature of an alcoholic just to drink? Because you would watch that movie.
Correct. Yeah, I watched a great movie called "Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot" about the life of about John Callahan and the accident. He was a cartoonist.
Yeah.
Or a comic strip. No, it was a cartoonist, a one panel comic strip guy. Had his work in the New Yorker and Penthouse and Hustler and the Willamette Week. He was from Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I read the book.
It was really interesting. It was about his yeah. And I remember when we were drinking, he was like one of your favorite comic strip. I remember you were like really liked him a lot. You had a lot of fondness for his stuff. It's off color and
Very.
the comics are really off color and really like
It's about a guy.
incorrect.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he and we're gonna do another one of these for our Patreon, do a review of the movie. But he got into a car accident and was paralyzed basically from like the chest down. So he had a little bit of movement in his hand, so he continued to keep drawing, but he still drank for 2 years
In a wheelchair.
in a wheelchair.
Damn,
So when you talk about the power of alcohol,
So and also we were having kind of a roundabout conversation about people trying to go back out and drink again, but try to control it. And I was having a conversation with someone about this outside of the podcast, and I was, and I was like, well, if anyone ever figures it out, they should call me and give me the heads up, because if they figure out the secret, I'd like to know it. And this other person who was also a fellow alcoholic was kind of shocked. And then my thought process was, well, A, I was joking, and B, there is an element of seriousness in it, because is it not the true nature of an alcoholic to drink?
to find a way.
Right, and this is a question I'm asking myself. This isn't a statement, that I'm throwing out to a bunch of people who are brand new and trying to not drink, It's like one of those big questions. So I guess we can kind of pigeonroll. I don't know if that's a word. But
Pigeonroll.
Pigeonroll that in.
Is that a kind of sandwich?
For perspective, I think it is. Walter would not eat one.
No,
but,
a pea. So yeah, I don't. When I think about your question, you say, well, is it the nature of an alcoholic? And would if you figure out controlled drinking, then tell me. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, what does controlled drinking look like? Or what does quote unquote normal drinking look like? And that would be working all day, maybe going out to dinner, having a glass of wine because it's only Tuesday, and I have to get up in the morning midweek, and maybe not finishing my glass of wine and leaving it on the table and going to bed or going home and watching the Late Show and hanging out with the lady or whatever, playing
drifting off to sleep.
Yeah. And then waking up and not thinking about it.
Not being obsessed with it. Yeah.
So, and I think that because I would be obsessing about how exactly I could get what I needed, how I could feed the addiction, feed the obsession, be like, well, so if it was just a glass of wine and if that's all I wanted, then why would I want it at all? Especially, it would almost be like I would have to erase my entire memory of the past, because my brain is still working under the assumption that you can't have one, because then you will destroy your life with 1,000. So so if I just want to have one or two or three, and then but three, because three is this, it was even a tipping point, in my early drinking career, because once you have three, you're like, well, fuck it, I guess 4, 5, and 6 don't seem like a big deal.
I've already paid for dinner. You know what I mean? I don't know how that analogy works, but I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I remember saying that shit out loud a bunch of times. Well, I'm in for a penny. Right. So I don't think. So that's the thing. That's the joke I always make when I hear people say, oh, well, I'm going to try it out. Or I'm like, hey, give me a heads up if it works, because there's also, I think, an element of sarcasm in there, because I know it's not going to fucking work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I hear, and I've had people say that to me who were in their own version of recovery or in recovery. And I've always, I don't want to flat out tell someone, this is your life. These are your choices you have to make. It's just I can't diagnose you with being an alcoholic, I know what I have, but I don't know what you have. So, but it's also I know, but I kind of know if you and I are similar, it's not going to work the way you think it's going to work.
And if if you and I, Jerry, have described ourselves similarly, we relate to the same exact feelings, we relate to the same exact behaviors, we relate, you and I, to some of the same exact evenings, and probably the same exact bottle of liquor. So then I have to relate to you. And so when I talk to somebody else and relate to them and they relate to me, I have to assume that they are going to feel the same way. So when somebody says, hey, I'm thinking maybe it's okay now, I go, well, I mean, that is you, and perhaps you have reached a point, and maybe you were not nearly as bad as I was. Maybe you weren't. Maybe, they talk about in some of the literature that we've read in the 12-step program about how there's different levels and different types of drinkers, and they go through the whole list. And there are, heavy drinkers, and there are problem drinkers, and there are weekend bingers, and any number of ways that you can, fuck up your life with alcohol. And some people are able to just cut back and be fine with it, and they walk away from it.
Yes.
So I think it's just a matter of relating and how you describe yourself and what perspective you have on the whole thing.
P, there it is. Right, because we got to clue you folks in. Our letter today is P, and it's for perspective.
Yes.
And maybe projection and maybe perception. I don't know. We'll throw a couple P's out there. We'll just be peeing all over the place.
Yes. So what is it my nature to drink as an alcoholic? Now, was it my nature because before I took my first drink at, whatever age, 16, I didn't think about it the same way, but I thought about other things the same way. I thought about candy. I thought about sodas. I thought about these things that would change my brain chemistry, almost instantly. Right. So I sincerely believe that for me, there is some sort of chemical or biological, I don't know the science.
An imperative or something. Or it's almost like your prime directive. If
it is
Star Trek of drunks, that would be your prime directive would be
to go where no man has gone before, and
try to make yourself feel better in the worst way possible.
Yeah, that's a great way. Try to make yourself feel better in the worst way possible, and so that was it. And so that was before I took my first drink, that was exactly it. How do I make myself feel better? How do I change this? How do I change how I feel? And for me, and I think there's a lot of different factors. So it's definitely was some sort of allergy for me. There was some sort of biological thing. There was definitely the childhood trauma of feeling both somehow oppressed and abused and abandoned and neglected at the same time.
Right.
And so you mix all this stuff up and bam, of course somebody's going to be just clawing at the walls to try and get out of the situation that they're in, mentally, emotionally, and physically as well. But so the perspective is, I drink, I feel better. This works. This continues to work.
Right.
So years and years, and you go, yeah, well, now I got a little bit of a hangover. I'm 22. I can't drink like I used to at 18.
Oh, I'm 22 now. I'm an old timer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then 25, and then 28, and then you're 32, and it becomes the hangovers get exponentially worse. The financial holes are exponentially worse. I mean, I don't know at what age did you start to feel like alcohol was really affecting you? Because I know that we managed for so long, but
probably I had a good run. I don't mean it like that, but
yeah,
I started drinking alcohol. I don't even want to say I started drinking alcoholically at 23 because I was drinking alcoholically before that. I just didn't have the money to get it because I didn't have a regular job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was probably, when it started taking a toll was like in my 30s.
Yeah.
My late 20s was still party time. I was living with this girl, and we were awful for each other, and she's a good person, and I was I took her hostage for a few years, and
mm-hmm.
And then after we split, I moved into this apartment, and I turned 30 in that apartment, and I just fucking bottomed out, man. Like now I think back on it, and I'm making tattoo guy money, which was good in the early
mm-hmm.
mid 2000s, and I had no responsibilities. I wasn't married. My rent was $500 a month, and I couldn't pay my like $100 phone bill because I would drink it all.
Yeah.
And I started realizing like this is not manageable, but I don't give a fuck because I'm gonna get loaded again. That's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. This is not only is this what I have to do, but this is my persona.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my wife about this last night and how it surprises me when people tell me, dude, you were the drunkest person I ever knew. Like, people tell me that still. You were the drunkest person I knew, and it always fucking, every time it surprises me. Because of my perception of myself was that they were much drunker than me, and they were out there in the world, and I hung around with them. But for some reason, I was the drunkest. Like, it just, even today, I still clutch my fucking pearls. I'm like, who, me? Surprised, And, like, my story isn't hugely dramatic. And it doesn't have to be. I know the fire. I have a fire. I have a machine in me that wants to keep making me fucking drink. That's all I need. I don't need to run anybody over or kill anyone or be homeless,
No.
The only person I was in danger of killing was myself anyway. So, I guess my point is that's when I knew. I mean, that's when I knew, but that's when I ignored it. But when, I hit my bottom in 2014. I wasn't even 39 yet. I was like 38. So I had that 8-year run of just being broke all the time, never having money for booze, but never having money to buy, buy art supplies or buy shit I wanted, or I don't know, just to even be comfortable in any sense of a word.
It's funny. I'm just thinking of something because I'm remembering. Excuse me again. When your daughter was born, or when your wife got pregnant, and I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, somebody you were close to and knew from Arizona many years ago.
Oh, jeez.
And
fucking JV probably.
Anyway, no.
We're not saying names.
Well, I'm not saying the other one, but the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tall and skinny.
Tall and lanky, my scarecrow buddy.
Mm-hmm,
I love him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, Jerry's gonna be a dad. And I remember saying something like, well, what the fuck? I mean, because I always thought that I tried to match you as best I could for drinking, and I thought that we were, if anybody was drunker than you, it was going to be me. But
right.
But I remember saying something to him like, how is he going to afford? Where's he going to find money for cigarettes and whiskey? And I think I was kind of half joking, and he kind of looked at me and just went, "Don't worry, he'll find it." And I was, and that little thing stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. Well, I guess he did. Regardless, you still find it.
For 4 more years. Because if you think about it, like, I drank up until about the time my daughter was 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for 4 more years, I ran hard at the end. I mean, I was drinking more than I ever drank when I was alone, than I drank with you guys.
Yeah.
I could whatever. The volume doesn't matter necessarily, but I mean, I could put a dent in a fifth back then, but this, by the end, I could just take the whole fifth. I was done.
And I mean, I think that the volume says it talks about it refers to the hurt, to the pain, and to the level of tolerance that you had built up over those years.
I just didn't want to like glorify it. Like, yeah, I drank a fifth of whiskey every night, so listen to me, kid. I know what I'm talking about. I just know that throwing up for me was for losers, so I would just have alcohol poisoning. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I ran for 4 years, so that was my whole thing. That was the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I did the same with vodka, it was that
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I wasn't proud of, but I was just that that I would call you, yes. And it wasn't that it wasn't about the volume of liquor, but it was just to me it was like, how do I drown out the pain? How do I stop it from hurting? And the only way, because even as I was drinking, I would still feel miserable, and there's always that moment or that few moments where things feel good and kind of light, and you're like, oh man, for just a minute I don't care, and then the pain the pain comes back even worse, and then now you're inconsolable, or I was inconsolable and crying or upset or trying to call somebody who certainly didn't want to talk to me at 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 in the morning, but that was about the pain that I was suffering, and the tolerance that I had built up, that I could drink a half a bottle of vodka before I even really felt something, and that was not enough to kind of spook me into thinking about quitting. I wanted more.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I don't even think for me personally it wasn't like this conscious thing. Like, I'm feeling pain, I need it was like a subconscious thing, because I would always lie to myself and be in denial and be like, I'm just having a good time, I earned this, like I worked all day, I've been making money all day, I just want to feel good. Which is funny, because there's the subconscious thing, right? I just want to feel good one time today. I just want to feel good once today, because I've been in pain all day. See, but like in my mind, it wasn't, my perspective, P, was totally fucked. My idea of it wasn't this conscious, like, I need to kill this pain. It was an unconscious, like, I need to reward myself, and my reward is making me numb myself to everything that is damaging and hurting and all this mental shit that now I get to confront every day.
And how did you feel? How do you feel today? How do you feel about that?
I feel good, though. It's the sarcasm is there. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I see myself, especially, I think I have good moments. I think I have good days. Sometimes I think I have good weeks, but something comes up, It's life. This fucking track I'm walking is not smooth. I don't think anyone's track is smooth. Like, I've realized recently that I just stopped believing that the world was conspiring against me. Just like in the past 6 months, year. I finally realized that, like, I am not important enough for the world to want to fuck me over. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like everything was against me, and it took me a long time to, like, learn my right size, and like, that I am not the center of my universe. I used to believe that the fucking world had it out for me. I was the center of my own universe. Everything revolved around me, and it took a while to realize that, I'm just a background actor in someone else's life. Do you know what I mean? I'm like the guy in the background who walks by with the coffee cups and, like, maybe he looks directly into the camera, and they have to fucking redo the take. But,
yeah, cut. I wish we could read. There's a few takes I wish I could redo.
What's that guy's name? And I'm just like,
yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel good, though. That's the thing, and that's I think important for me to put out there into the world, or whoever listens to this, is that, like, I feel better. I may not feel good every day, but I feel better,
than if I were drinking.
Than if I were drinking, yeah. I feel way better than if I were drinking.
Struggling for that fleeting moment at the end of a day, or, God forbid, at the first thing in the morning, just to make the hangover or the shakes go away.
Right, yeah. And that shit always... I see that in movies, and it always hurts my heart. It doesn't trigger me. That's funny. I can watch people drink in movies now. It doesn't trigger me, but I always feel sad. I feel empathy for the character. Like, I know that feeling. Like, I did drink in the mornings, you know. It's so funny when I talk to non-alcoholics about what goes on in my brain, and they have all these signifiers, these checklists of what all the things that us alcoholics do or what put us where we're at, you know. Hey, man, you still go to those meetings? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, when do you stop? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, never, hopefully. Hopefully I'll still be around them. You know, it's not like I graduate and I get a sash and they send me out into the world like, here's your fucking wine cooler. Good luck. You know?
I was listening. Yeah, somebody was talking about wanting to be in a cult, and they were kind of making a joke, and they're like, I just want to be in a happy cult where I learn to be happy, they teach me to be happy, and then I'm happy, and then everything's fine. And somebody who was, not having a great day or something. And I said, that's the thing though. You don't get to graduate. You have to work at it every single day.
Right.
And even do things that I don't want to do, and especially exercise. And I'm starting to get a little bit better about not listening to the part of me that is lazy and complains that my foot hurt. And,
then do some sit-ups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
then do some exactly. Your foot hurts, well then do some fucking sit-ups.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to hurt your foot. So in the last 6 months I've really been better at listening to the other voice, the one that's a little more inspiring. And it's hard to always be inspired and always be hopeful and always be positive and
absolutely.
And I don't think that you can. And one of the other things, and I talked a couple weeks ago with you, and I told you how, and I guess this is actually over the last 3 weeks, and I was feeling really depressed, or, I was just feeling really low, and I couldn't shake it, and I couldn't shake it, and I couldn't shake it. And the thing that I thought about the other day, because I had another one of these bad days where I went to work and it was super dead, right? So I didn't make any money.
Right,
at the bar.
Yeah.
No tips. And then I came home and there was a letter from the Oregon Department of Revenue. And just by the way, people, I haven't lived in Oregon, or I haven't, claimed income in Oregon since 2002. And so, and they didn't want much, but they wanted something. So I was like, well, I'm broke. Now I'm in the hole. And then I remember that night, and I was just feeling bummed out. And I didn't sleep good the night before, and I stayed up late, just laying in the dark, thinking about how I couldn't sleep and how,
my God. It's not even like you were playing video games or watching.
No,
just
I wasn't.
Laying
I
in
swear.
the dark, thinking about the fucking universe. Oh my God, John.
So then I was like, oh, cool. Well, we bought this regular Nintendo, this original 8-bit Nintendo, and I bought this game on eBay that I remember liking. And honestly, any of those games I play for like 5 minutes, I've got my fill. But so I brought it over and I slam it in the thing and I turn it on and it doesn't work. And I was like, well, that's the fucking last straw. It's time to go to bed. I had such a terrible, terrible day. And to that point, the thing that I have been learning about the previous depression is like, what do I need to get through those moments? So, and it doesn't always work, but one, remembering that I'm not the center of the universe is very helpful. That this is not a conspiracy against me. This is just what happens sometimes. And there's somebody who's stuffing an envelope up in Oregon, and there's somebody who's mailing me a video game that's 30 fucking years old. So of course maybe it's not going to work.
Probably not going to work, yeah.
And it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon, so people are out having picnics, so there's the life is just happening, and I just happen to be a part of this whole big thing.
Right.
So there's no there's no puppet master who's feeling exceptionally, mean toward me, going
like he's pushing on your head specifically, going, you need to feel so shitty you start drinking again. Come on, just poking at you. It doesn't work that way.
That's not it. So I try to pull out of it a little bit quicker instead of digging into those bad feelings. And I go, well, at least it's only a little amount of money I owe the state of Oregon, and there's always tomorrow at work. And the video game didn't work, but really you were only going to probably enjoy it for about 15 minutes at the most anyway. Right. So maybe you should drink a couple big glasses of water and watch something you like on Netflix and go to sleep and just try to forget about it and start fresh. And so these little things that I try to remind myself so that I don't allow myself to get like dug in, because it's so easy to go, I'm just fucking miserable and I'm depressed and everything sucks. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to be miserable and depressed and everything's going to suck.
Fuck yeah.
And so,
And I'm going
right?
to love it. I'm going to love feeling like this because we all wallow in our misery. I mean, not we all. I wallow in my misery. I can't tell you what you do, but
So that's my next step is like, okay, catch myself before it happens for too long. So even if it's just a bad day, it doesn't have to be a bad 2 days.
well, yeah, and I think that there's a I can't think of the word right now. I think there's a bit of mental masturbation in wallowing on it too long, like feeling bad about it for too long when things don't go right. I can't speak. Well, I can't. Guess I can. I can't speak on people with clinical depression. I have a touch of it myself. You know, I probably need some meds, but I can't speak for this type of situational depression. You know,
Right.
like, and I try the same thing, and I get fucked up from it too. And I have to keep telling myself, so I'm going to sit here and feel sorry for myself? Am I going to go in the bathroom and just sit on the counter and just cry and watch myself and look at myself and see how beautiful I am? Well, like, do you know what I mean? Like, admire my own sadness, because that's what old Jerry would have done, you know? That's what drinking Jerry would have done. Oh, God, yeah, absolutely.
Romanticize it.
It's even hard for me now to be, like, negative. Like, the whole joke about me at work and me in my life is that I was this, like, like a curmudgeonly like 38-year-old, you know. I was like this curmudgeon grouchy guy, and like I don't feel like that guy anymore. I had someone at work tell me the other day that I didn't like to have fun, and I was like, that's not right. I fucking love having fun. I just don't have the same fun you have. Like, it's different. We have different perceptions, once again, with the P, right? We have different perceptions of what fun is, or perspective, or whatever. But it just like it like stuck with me because I was like, I do like having fun, and it's hard for me to pretend like I don't like anything anymore because I don't like certain things. And if you ask me my opinion, I'll gladly share them with you, but I don't dislike them because I think they're wrong. I don't prefer them. It's just not my thing, and I don't know, man. It's hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm the saddest guy you've ever met, which I used to love doing. You know, like little rain cloud at the party, you know.
I think too, when I'm just trying to think back to the times in my life in recovery where the perspectives shifted. And of course it was that first night, you know, that moment of clarity that a lot of alcoholics have where
right,
this shit has got to stop. And then I think somewhere around, 2 months in, I still felt very fragile and raw, like a pulled tooth, or somebody like a splinter.
You were in recovery. That's why I love the word, because you're in recovery. You broke your soul. You know what I mean? They put a cast. Like, now you're trying to heal up your soul. It's like walking around with 2 broken legs and arms. That's how I felt. That's so funny you say you felt raw, because it's exactly how I felt. The same way, like a pulled tooth or a splinter, or
I don't think it was until like 18 months in where I really started. Well, no, and then we joked about the pink cloud period where I was really excited and I was texting you like every text would be like ODAT,
ODAT, dog.
Hey man.
Which I love. I loved it.
No,
I just was
we
so
joke,
out of character for you. It made me laugh because I was like, who is this fucking guy? But I loved it because I could see, okay, I'm like, oh, he's on that pink cloud. Mine didn't last very long. Mine was like a month or two. Yeah. I mean, I fueled my recovery with cigarettes and Rockstar energy drinks.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And like that weird pink cloud. It was just caffeine poisoning.
That's what it was. And somewhere around the 18th month, I guess, so a year and a half, almost 2. I'm going on 4 years now, so it was probably closer to 2 years. Did I finally start not just giving into it, and maybe that's not the right phrase, but really accepting it and really embracing it and really trying to do better with not just with my recovery, but with my life. And that took 2 years. So, I mean, I say that only because I went through periods where I was very resentful of my recovery, if you can understand that. That idea of like...
No, I can understand that. I was super resentful of my own... I was resentful of everybody and my recovery.
Right. People who were doing it better, people who were feeling better.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't this working as good for me?
Right.
and I even like quit like going to meetings for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, because I was just like, you know what, man, I'm just not doing it anymore, and I don't want to, so I'm not going to, and nobody can make me, and you know what, nobody made me, and the only person that made miserable was me.
Yeah.
So I just say these things because I know that if you're listening and you're in your first week or your first 30 days or your first 90 days or even your first year and a half and you're feeling shitty, just it's really okay, and that's it. It sounds cliched, but it's all part of the process, you know.
It's normal. You're gonna be all right. It's totally fucking normal. We both been there, and you don't even know us, and we've been there.
That's good. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and we've totally been there.
And I too, I turned to a lot of things when I didn't have alcohol, like food.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am now today in a position where I go out on a 3-mile jog and I come back and my foot hurts but I'm like, it's so nice outside. Maybe I should go out for some more because I just want to be out there. And that person 9 months ago would have been laying in bed, eating ice cream and salami out of the bag like some sort of fucking ghoul, you know, in the night.
Oh yeah, some Sopranos ghoul, like you're the ghoul of Tony Soprano.
Exactly, gabagool. Yes,
you're a gabagool. Oh fuck, you got it before me. Wait, so do you jog the entire 3 miles?
No. So let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Like, I walk 3 miles and I jog maybe a 16th of that mile.
I
so
jog
I didn't know. I was like,
probably, I want to say a third. Let's be as honest as we can.
Yeah, because
I
don't jog a third of any of it. I don't jog any of. I barely jog it.
So I don't want this to necessarily turn into the recovery, the lazy man's alcoholic recovery.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
corner.
The recovery jogcast. We're the jogcast. Except I don't jog, and he only jogs a third of it.
And I will say this, and it's something I've been reading a lot of and listening to a lot of Mishka Shabali.
You sent me that book, but anyway, we'll talk about it after the podcast. I want to listen to it.
You should, if you can, you should download the app and check out his stuff.
Yeah.
It's called The Long Run, and that was the one that I was super inspired. And when I was running and my foot hurt, and he said some shit, he wrote some shit in that book and that story that really I started to cry while I was out there. Mm-hmm. And so I just started running more, and my foot hurt, and I was just like, in my mind, I said, I want to run more than I want my heel to hurt, you know. Mm-hmm. And I said, I want to write more than I want a 10 bar, and I kept saying that like over and over and over, and I was crying, and I had these stupid Veuve Clicquot orange glasses that I got at some New Year's Eve party that I worked.
Wait, what's Veuve?
It's champagne, but they're stupid
recovered
orange
alcoholic
glasses.
In champagne glasses, just crying on the track.
So it was this big moment for me, you know, and I wrote it. I came home and I wrote it all down, and but the point is that, you know, so I jog intermittently, and it's really helped in kind of getting me to feel better about things, like, because I go, okay, so my body can feel better than it does right now. And so I think about that when I think back to when I was drinking and my body felt awful, and my brain felt awful, and everything felt awful. And I haven't encountered any joggers high or runners high or anything like that yet.
Nah, me neither.
But it's just so awesome to be able to, all I got to do is step outside and I can start going. And that's the other cool thing about it. I don't have to worry about, do I have my gym bag, and, you know, what's the traffic like, and this, that, and the other. And if the weather's nice enough, you just go step outside. And my shoes are old and I probably need some new ones, but I don't know. I think finding something like that, I know a lot of people in recovery like flip over and they just like go exercise nonstop. I was not one of those people. I'm still not.
I love exercising now, though. I hate it and love it. Mm-hmm. This is J's for Jogaholic. But I love it, and I love walking. Mm-hmm. But I love lifting weights. But I guess the point is, like we got here. Who'd have thought we'd ever be here? I never thought I would be here. My body doesn't look the same. Like I look at myself, and it's not even about like, oh, I'm working out and you should work out too. It's just, I think where I'm coming from is using it as an example of where I can get now and what I can achieve now. You know, if anything, at least I can look back and go, I fucking did that. If anything, you know. And yeah, I raised a kid. She's all right. You know, we're cool. We have a couple laughs. But I fucking jogged a 13th of a mile today. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just what you can achieve. Just you talking about it is impressive to me. It surprises me because I know you personally. I know you well. We've slept in the same bed.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and this was not a king size bed at the
that was a small
at the luxury
bed.
This was like, these were tiny flop house mattresses,
yeah,
sweaty and smelling
it's
of
like drunk people mattress. Yeah, there's no Tempur-Pedic
no
at the Rivoli, at the Hotel Rivoli or the Rivoli.
No,
but I think I don't the cliche is silly, but it gets better. It really will. And even if you've got chronic things and things are fucking you over and your body is fighting you, like mentally, it can get better. I mean, I don't have necessarily anything chronic other than the fact that like I fucking used to drink a lot, like way too much. I was gonna say I used to smoke the chronic, but I never did that shit. But
how's your body?
My body feels good. My back, I fucked my back up yesterday because I went on a 3-mile walk and apparently did something. Oh, and then I went and cleaned out the entire garage, and that fucked my back up. So I bought some lidocaine patches. So I'm high on that lidocaine right now, dog. Got that good lidocaine. But I don't know, man. I ate some Mexican food yesterday. It tore my gut up a little bit. I've been a machine in that area, but other than that, my body's great. I'm fine. I have no complaints. For 43, I don't have major complaints, so I'm doing okay, I think.
And I would say too, I mean, you look vastly different than you did a year ago, even in those sober times. And it's not just exercise and the weight loss. When you look at somebody in the face, you can tell when they seem healthy. Yeah. You know, and you can tell when I look at the pictures, because I have a pretty large head and I have a pretty round face, and so my eyes are often kind of squinty. But there's pictures of me from 2015. And I'm just so bloated, and I swear I'm gonna post those pictures up again of you and I from like before and after, and you just look at it, and it just blows my mind that I feel I look healthier. You know, my skin looks better.
I'm surprised we didn't take any pictures of us back in 2012. You know, when I had that lost weekend with you in 2012.
I think I might have a couple of them. You know what? I do have a couple. And was that the one where you tattooed the bottom of my foot?
Yeah, in the living room, drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, you find yourself in some strange places, and you know, I was always concerned that maybe we talk about our rock bottoms not being bottom enough to. Yeah. And I've kind of gotten over that sort of survivor's guilt of not being in jail or not being having multiple DUIs
or put in an institution or any of the other you know that you hear out there.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's really something that I need to experience, and I'm really grateful that I've learned from other people who have experienced those.
I'm so grateful they did it for me. So they could tell me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry you had to go through that, and I'm empathetic, and my heart hurts for you. But like, I'm glad you did it for me. Thank you for doing it for me. Own your bottom out there, people. It's
whatever
it
is. It doesn't
matter.
You don't have to crash hard to be able to clean it up, and
you know the same obsession we know. I would imagine. I hate making those absolute statements, but I imagine if you're here, you probably know the same obsession we know.
Even if your even if your story is different or less or maybe you I mean, it just comes in so many different ways. Maybe you're not a binge drinker, but maybe you drink every single day. Maybe you have 3 or 4 drinks every single day. That's eventually going to take its toll, just in the same way that getting sloshed, blacking out 4 days a week.
Right. Drinking 30 beers every night, but I mean, I can't get into the science of what defines an alcoholic, right? That's even a weird statement for me to make, because I know implicitly inside of me what makes me an alcoholic.
And what
But
is
I
that?
can't. Yeah, the fucking endless obsession and the physical fucking reaction to it. You know, It was an obsession. It was like a Ouroboros snaking its own tail, man. It was like I felt shitty, so I drank, and I drank because I felt shitty, and I felt shitty because I drank. And then when I stopped drinking, instead of being like, okay, I'm done drinking now, I fucking thought about drinking every waking hour
Yeah.
for a long time. You know, and that's not fucking, oh, Jerry, he's just a binge drinker, that's all. Like, I'm like, nah, dude, I felt terminal. You know, like, I thought about it constantly. Like, it just lived in my brain.
Do I have enough? When can I do it? When can I have it?
And then when I stopped, my brain just kept going, you're not drinking right now. You're not drinking right now. It was like a mantra. It was like a song stuck in my head, but it was just a phrase going, you're not drinking right now. Hey, it's been 10 minutes since you've had a drink. You know what I mean? It's been 2 days. It's been 48 hours. It's been 72 hours. It was like a little beat of a clock in my head constantly. Just keep going. It's been 5 days since you had a drink, Jerry. Are you ready to drink? And I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, I just muttered to myself in the house, you know. And my wife would be like, whoa, dude, you're a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it took me about a month to get into a room. And then I went into the room, and then I heard someone else say and I'm not trying to give you an advertisement for the room here. I'm just saying I went into those rooms. I got around people like me. I went to a 12-step program and heard someone say exactly what I just said. And like, I fucking started crying because I was like, whoa, someone else knows that shit. I'm not the only one just walking around drinking club soda with fucking sugar in it. Because that's all I just drink club sodas with sugar in it because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Now here I am. Farting and jogging.
Yes.
Jerry Wagner story, 2019.
I think, yeah, man, it's finding, hearing other people's perspectives, because then you start to formulate your own, not your own opinion, but things you never thought about, or things that you weren't able to identify, things that, feelings that you had, or experiences that you were having, or behaviors that you were exhibiting that had never been identified to you, or you had no words for them. And that was always
words for them, exactly.
Right. And then somebody says something, and you're like, oh my God, I never thought about it that way. And we put together this sort of list or toolkit or triage center for ourselves, so that when these things happen, we can repair it before it becomes a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you know what it was like? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You know what it was like in the beginning, hearing all that stuff? It was like you're watching a movie, and the song starts playing in the movie, and you're like, I know this fucking melody. I know this song, but I've never heard it before, but I know this melody. And then after a while, you start realizing that you do know the song. You know the words. You're like singing along, but the melody's all different, but it's the same song, and it's just a cover version of like Where's My Mind by the Pixies, which you know by heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like somebody was singing my song to me with a different melody, but I was like, I know all the fucking words to your song, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, That's how it felt.
And
I don't know. Sorry. That just
no,
happened
I think
in my
that's
brain.
that's great.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I just know that too, when I meet somebody who on the surface seems vastly different from me because of whether it's a woman who's 25 years older than I am, who has a couple of kids and did different things with her life and came from a different place and was either like a different race or whatever those things were, and then they start to speak from the heart about it, and you're like, wow, man, like it's not that different. It's not that different across the board. And I don't want to impose or imply that my experience is anybody else's or anybody else's is mine, but it happens more often than not that I hear people talk and I go, I can relate to that.
Yeah. Where the fuck else am I going to go sit down and have a juggalo make me cry? Do you know what I'm saying? Like have a juggalo, a dude straight up in an ICP shirt in his best basketball shorts.
His best basketball shorts.
But what I'm saying is like someone I do not relate to at all is making me hot in my fucking face. Like I can feel them. Like I'll get up and hug the juggalo. I'll be like, I'm down with your clown today, sir. Because I know your shit. Like you fucking touched my heart, man. Like, and so that's the magic of it. Remember earlier when I was talking to you about it? And I'm not like, once again, we have to tread very lightly as far as I feel like I have to tread very lightly
Yes.
as far as 12-step is concerned, because I do not endorse it in any way. There are other ways to do it, so I always have to put that preemptively out there. But I was telling you earlier before the podcast, I was like, sometimes I don't feel that magic in there, and so I don't go as much as I used to, because I just don't feel like, I don't know, like I just don't feel it the way I used to. But now in talking about it, I'm like, that's what it is. It's that not only the relatability, but being in a group of people and they can teach you things. They can say things and you pick them up and you carry that one little phrase or that one technique of dealing with it with you, you know? I think that was incredibly important. Other than like, and then, you know, once you start getting into all the literature and all that shit, that's absolutely important as well. If that's what's important to you, it was important to me. But the human aspect of it was incredibly important, because I was not isolated. I just realized we were like a little string of desert islands, and we found a way of communicating through coconuts or whatever, you know. And they threw it over to me, and I'm like, oh shit, you got too many crabs? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, like, yeah. So I'm grateful for all that shit, and I know that's the language of the 12 steps rooms, but I fucking am super grateful for all that shit.
I think that's that. I mean, and I would like to say that it's part of the human language to be grateful. I would like to say that it's not just this one particular. Now, you know, and to those listening, Jerry and I found it in a very particular way, but I feel like it's a human thing to be grateful. It's a human thing to relate to people. It's human behavior to
absolutely
to not want to feel isolated.
We want to chill in groups anyway. That's I mean, we want to get all Joe Rogan without all the weird right-wing shit, but like, I get all Joe Rogan, and here it is. He always talks about like that Dunbar effect and how we can only care about 100 so people in our lives because we're like primates and we want to group up together. So why would I not want to group up with a bunch of people who, do you know what I mean? Know exactly know what I'm made of.
Who share your same perspective.
Word. Bam, back to the P again.
So yeah, that's why I go. That's why I read. Excuse me. That's why I read a lot of books about it that are both, you know, in the program and outside. Yeah. I am actually starting. You've read This Naked Mind by Annie Grace.
No.
You haven't. I thought you had. Oh,
no,
okay.
I just recommended it to you. Oh, okay. I've listened to her podcast and I've had people online recommend it, but I don't even know if I have it.
Well, I just picked it up, and so I'm really excited to start it. And so her podcast is great.
On Audible? Did you pick this up on Audible?
No, I have it in my hand. So
you physically have it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Audible, sponsor us, man. We'll listen to your books and everything, man.
I love that. I really do. I should reach out to them, see what they're doing.
Say, Audible, we're doing something important here.
Mm-hmm. So I think that her podcast is great. So check out Annie Grace. She has a lot of valuable, insightful information. She's got a great perspective on it. She doesn't necessarily prescribe to any particular program. She's very much sort of, I don't want to say she's against it, but she's not interested in promoting any one particular program, but really just a better understanding of your brain and your alcoholic brain. And
it's like a resource for you. Mm-hmm. It's like an outside resource other than the path that maybe John and I take or any other people take.
Sure.
This is a great time to get your shit together and get sober, I think. Because there are so many more fucking resources out there for you. Way more than like my dad, who got sober in 1989. There wasn't even an internet. There was, but the Pentagon had it. And they were doing all their weird fucking CIA drug rings and child trafficking. And anyway, that's for my other podcast.
Yes, but, MK Ultra.
Yeah, it's the name of my podcast, MK Ultra. No, it's not. But anyway, you have all these resources at your hands now. I mean, you don't have to go into AA. Do you know what I mean? Mentioning the name of it, but you don't have to go into these programs necessarily. Like you can find, or you can go into a 12-step program and just shore all those foundations up with everything else around you, you know?
It's a great time to get your shit together, Jerry.
Get your shit together. You're going to be okay. It's going to suck, but you're going to be all right. And life will continue to suck in its own way, but it'll be palatable and manageable.
And it might even be tasty and wonderful.
But like I said, beyond palatable. Listen, vote me and John
Yes.
For your homeowners association, we'll fucking make things happen. We'll make them happen.
It's a great time to gain some new perspectives.
Yes. Bam. I'm going now. I'm
Okay,
done.
all right.
Yeah, that's the mic drop right there. Leave this in.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.